So, the concept, we've got a new concept now. Well, I'd say it's new, but it's not really. But now we talked about high-value males is now a new thing. I believe it was super popularized by Kevin Samuels. So now we have a new level of manhood that young men on the internet are attempting to obtain. That honestly, they really don't even need to be attempting to obtain at all, because it's a ridiculous idea. And why do I say that being a high-value male is an absolutely ridiculous idea? Mostly due to the fact that the vast majority of human beings can never even hope to obtain the qualities and traits, at least as far as Kevin Samuel puts it. It's a bit goofy, but Kevin Samuels is a really interesting case. I'd have to kind of chat about his philosophy, or lack thereof, at some other point in time. But in him popularizing the term, lots of other people I see are starting to use it too. And I stumbled across this one video here by a lady named Courtney Ryan, and I've actually been getting a lot of her videos popped up in my recommended feed. And I've been a little bothered by it, I have to say. The reason why I've been a little teeny bit bothered by it is because I feel like there's a lot of sugar in her content that I'm not really sure is conducive to the male development, I guess you could say. And this is actually kind of one of the first videos I saw of her, and that one really was like, Now, I will preface by saying, I don't think Courtney Ryan's content in total is nonsensical. I mean, sometimes she makes some really good points. But this one in particular, I'm going to say is really interesting, because it's not really even so much I need to argue about the traits or the points, but kind of the motivation behind it. It's going to be a little weird, right? Because she made a video where she was talking about what she considers to be the 5 traits that make you a high-value male. Now, of course, the 5 traits that make someone a high-value male to her would be different than what makes you a high-value male to Kevin Samuels. And then I sat here and I thought to myself, well, how about that? Imagine having a word that can mean anything based on how someone feels about it. It's almost like that word is fucking useless. If a word can mean anything, it means nothing. If a word is based on your interpretation of it, then it fails in its function as a word or concept. The point of a concept is to deliver information to somebody. Now, unless you want to boil the word down to a high-value male as someone that you personally value highly, I guess by that token you can sprinkle any other type of characteristics in there. But that can only work if the term itself is that loose, and that's not really how people use it. Usually they're referring to an individual that's got status, an individual that has lots of money, an individual that has an easy time dating lots of different women, an individual, as Kevin Samuel puts it, is valued by his community and gives value to other people when they know him. So stuff like that is how Kevin Samuel usually defines it. Courtney, on the other hand, I'll let her defend herself.
Authenticity. So authenticity is being unapologetically and authentically yourself. So you don't care what people think about you. You aren't constantly worried about people pleasing or what everyone else wants you to do. You do what makes you happy.
Now, I have a little bit of a problem with this one, because that concept can actually only really go so far, I guess you could say practically. I know it seems like I'm going to be arguing for the sake of arguing. I'm not, but I really want, a little bit more critical thought into this one. Being an authentic isn't so far necessarily that you don't care about what other people think. You can't really go that far in life. I've learned that myself. I'm an individual that spends a lot of time not giving a damn about what other people think about me. And it's gonna be a struggle in life when you don't appeal to other people's wants and desires. Again, I can say that just from personal experience, right? Being authentic, though, or being honest about how you are as a person, I think is certainly a very, very important trait. But I don't think that it comes with a lack of care for how other people feel about you, or it doesn't necessarily come. I think the point is you have to have enough confidence and conviction in yourself to know that what you're doing is righteous, to know what you're doing is the necessary and good path. Often, I would say, mostly with a lot of moral consideration and critical thought, rather than you just throw reckless abandon to other people's thoughts and feelings. Because I used to be pretty nonchalant and uncaring about other people and their opinions. And, my dad once said, man, there's some things you have to care about. And I think being authentic comes from more being upfront and being honest and being true, more to your convictions. It's not about being a social pariah. It's not about not caring about other people's thoughts or other people's emotions or how people feel about you. It's knowing that what you're doing is right. It's having that conviction to do the right thing in spite of how other people feel. So it's more, you stick to what you think is supposed to be good, or what you're attempting to be good, or what you're attempting to show or be virtuous about, rather than, nobody can affect me. Nobody can tell me anything. I don't care about you. I don't really think that's a really good thing. And I'm not really sure that's how Courtney was trying to put it out, but I do feel like I kind of wanted to highlight that. I know, because again, just from my own personal experience, it's not good to be nonchalant without conviction. There has to be a reason why you're unfazed by other people's opinions. And sometimes you need other people's opinions. Sometimes it's not even good to not care about how other people think, because other people might be right. Other people might see things that you don't see. So there has to be a good amount of humility that's tempered with your convictions, where you have to say, is he right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I do need to do something different. I feel like there needs to be more to it than that, but I'll let her continue her explanation.
Authenticity. So authenticity is being unapologetically and authentically yourself. So you don't care what people think about you. You aren't constantly worried about people pleasing or what everyone else wants you to do. You do what makes you happy.
Now, again, I'm with her on the lack of people pleasing, and I'm with her on doing what makes you happy. But I do kind of want to stress that I don't really think that I do still think we have to temper duty and doing what's right, as a good trait in being a male. I don't really like this kind of, I do feel, as much as I like treating people as individuals, I still feel there's a duty we have to each other, because that's just how society functions. You can't really function any other way. I still think it's important to recognize what duty is and recognize acting in spite of how you feel. I don't want people just do what makes you, like as far as superficial, read comic books. I mean, comic books is okay now. Like in the old days, it wasn't. In the old days, you couldn't talk to a girl about the Winter Soldier, and she entertained the conversation. You couldn't do that. You couldn't bring up anime in the old days, and the girl you guys probably it's only been all of 10 years, but I'm sure you guys remember Naruto is childish. Come on, right? So in that regard of like the superficial. Yeah, I mean, but considering that to be a high-valued male trait, to me, it seems a bit goofy, I mean, the superficial nonsense of like, marching to the beat of your own drum doesn't seem like a high virtue to me. Not only because it's something I did naturally, but also because, again, to nonsensical stuff like that, it's like, I mean, if a woman is like, yo, you watch anime, I don't like you. It's like, what kind of, like, you're not an intelligent woman. You're not worth my time. My children don't need to be with someone, don't need a mother, you know what I mean? That can't see the value in an art form, that just spans so many different genres and topics. Your brain is so small that, the way something is animated, or you can't see past your preconceived notions, that would be telling me, that would be the reason why you can't be with a woman like that, But at the same time, it's still like, let's be fair, it's still cartoons. At the same time, it's still comic books, it's still manga. At the same time, like, those marching, like, it's not the higher truths of like what makes you a strong character. Those are just little sprinkles of your personality. So like video games, stuff like that, your own style, again, those are all adornments. But like the higher truths of who you are as a person, that needs to be tempered by society. It needs to be tested against other people. There's more to it than that. And I feel like, when it comes to the authenticity of being a person, that's kind of one thing I wanted to highlight. But there's another thing I really want to highlight, and it's going to be this point right here.
And the people who do that are always the happiest. Nothing is sexier than a guy who knows what he wants, who he is, and isn't afraid to say that, even if it goes against the popular opinion.
That's bullshit. That's pure, unadulterated bullshit. Once again, in the old days, and I know I just spent a whole time talking about how it's superficial, but I just want to highlight this point, just so you guys get it. In the old days, you couldn't talk to a girl about Yu Yu Hakusho. You couldn't talk about Dragon Ball Z. You couldn't talk about anime. That's what nerds did. That was weird. That was goofy. That was strange. Courtney here expects me to believe that there's nothing sexier than going against the grain and standing up for what you believe in and what is right? Wrong. In the old days, I talked to people about how I didn't like oral sex. I still don't like it. Even after experiencing it, I still don't like it. I feel it's greatly over-exaggerated. Greatly overvalued by males. You know, it blows my mind the amount of, like, I've spent my whole life with people telling me just how wonderful and great and your wee-wee sucked was, and then I had it, and I'm like, I could have done without this my whole life. You think women are going to be turned on by the fact that I went against the grain of maledom? No, of course not. No woman ever has been. I tell women all the time, I'm not really a big fan of oral sex. They're not like, wow, you're such strong conviction going against the grain. They don't care. And that's one thing that kind of really bothers me about this, is I don't like this idea of telling males something that just isn't true. That's not how women operate. The truth of the matter is, you know, having strong conviction does not exist so it becomes sexy to women. It exists for yourself so you know what path you must follow and where you need to go in life. That's what conviction is for. And that's kind of the thing I don't like. And I know it sounds small, but just bear with me.
This is also someone who doesn't feel the constant need for validation or to prove himself in order to feel like what he's doing is okay. He does it because he wants to and not because everyone else is saying he should.
So again, someone that has conviction, you know, is just one way to just kind of summarize your point there. But truth of the matter is, this isn't bad. It's not bad. I'm not saying all this like these are traits you shouldn't have as a male. In fact, you should. But I think the problem here is our motivation, and you'll see what I mean as we keep going.
So the big thing about authenticity and the reason why it's so high value is because when you are authentically yourself, you attract the right people for you. So
the right people for you oftentimes gonna be other males. It's not really good. Women are not tuned on to conviction and strength of character. They're just not. Just not. Sorry. Like I didn't make them this way. They're just not. A lot of women aren't. A lot of women are turned on instantly, usually by the way you look. That's just how it is. I didn't make it this way. That's just how men are. Instant, especially in America. We just, oh, I like you. Now I just need you to not, you know, be so awful as a human being. Actually, even sometimes then, that's still not enough to make people turned off by you. A lot of people, again, they're stuck on the surface. A lot of women, they're not looking deeper to find strong moral foundation in dudes. It's just not how they mate select. And trying to say that it is, I don't think is fair to men. That's not true. If at most having a good amount of conviction is going to keep bad people in your life, but it's not necessarily going to attract good people either, especially if you're going against the grain of social convention. You probably will, hopefully, but it's not necessarily the case. I don't want to set anyone up for, if you do the right thing, good things are just going to happen to you. You're just going to get all the best people. No, you might be alone for a while because you're in an environment with crappy people. You might find some of the best friends you ever have, but I don't want to set anyone up for. You're not doing this because you will attract other people. You're doing it because you know it's the right thing to do. You have your own personal conviction. That's where that should come from. Because expecting the world to bend this way then to attract that may not happen. In fact, the opposite is probably what's going to happen. Let's be real.
So a guy like this doesn't care what people think about him, and honestly, that is so refreshing, especially in today's society where if you have a different opinion, everybody tries to cancel you. Another thing about being authentic is that you'll attract the right people for you by being yourself. Why would you want to be with someone that isn't even attracted to the real you? You shouldn't try to pretend to be something or someone that you're not. You should be focusing on yourself, making yourself better, doing what makes you happy, and ultimately you'll be able to give to other people by doing that.
Again, good stuff. Good stuff. No argue against it. It's all good. But I think, again, what we need to temper this with, in order to, we need to heat treat this point. What we have to, I think, consider reasonably, is this is good for a stronger, relationship. As in, this is how you should operate in a relationship, by being upfront and being honest. There's no mask that needs to be removed over time because you didn't pretend to be another person to make someone like you. This is more for making a relationship easier to thrive and exist in because the person knew what they were getting up front. Now, of course, the problem here is that's just not how people date. That's just not how people operate with masks. People put their best foot forward, and then they slowly peel the mask away when they isolate you, or when they think they have you, or when they think it's okay for them to. When they think that now that you're invested, you're not just going to leave them, then they reveal who they really are. People don't really operate in an authentic, pure way all the time. And honestly, if you don't, people are going to be turned off. You don't think it's weird or bizarre. I know from personal experience. I'm telling you guys. I'm not asking. I'm telling you guys. So you have to you have to steel yourself for a kind of lonely life for a little while. I don't want anyone to walk away from Courtney's video thinking, yeah, I'm gonna have all these friends and all these women are gonna like me, and it's gonna be it's gonna be tough for a little bit.
A big aspect of authenticity is putting yourself first. And that seems selfish when I say it, but that's because it kind of is.
Then it just is. You just say it's selfish. It is.
And I think so many people live their lives, like I said, trying to please others so much that they never put themselves first. And that leads to them feeling resentful, burnt out, used, and nothing good ever comes from that.
Yeah, basically, you can't be a lifeguard if you can't swim. You got to be able to, provide for yourself first, and then from that position, you can help other individuals out. You just summarize it. Let's just move forward to our next point. Now, I would encourage you guys to go ahead and watch your video in full, like I usually always do. Mostly because I don't really have much to argue with or disagree with here, so I can summarize what our friend Courtney here is saying. So the next two traits, is having emotional intelligence, which I can honestly summarize a little bit to more trying to be a good, humble person that is self-aware of how you feel and how other people feel. And then the third trait, she says, is someone that has self-love, someone who takes care of themselves and tries to make sure that they're healthy mentally and emotionally, which is a bit more of I wouldn't say it like a sub-point to this number 2, but it does piggyback off it pretty well. Now again, if you want more of the details, you can watch her video in full, but that is basically what she's referring to, and I don't really have much of it to argue or counter against here, for the most part. I mean, there's other stuff I can nitpick, but it's not important. Let's move on to now point number 4.
Number 4, we have integrity. And a man with integrity is high value because he's honest, he's trustworthy, he has values for himself and the people that he chooses to surround himself with.
Now, I mean, should I stand up and clap? I mean, people who've previewed my channel for a long time know I always talk about honor and integrity, right? So I am glad. There's a little part of me that's really glad that she mentioned integrity. There really is, okay? So then what is the issue? Well,
so character is what you do when nobody else is watching, and someone with integrity does the right thing. Like I said, he's honest, he's trustworthy, he's a good guy, and that's what makes him high value. A guy with integrity adds value to other people's lives because he isn't lying, he isn't manipulating, he has clear intentions. The reason why women are attracted to men with integrity is because they stick to their word.
Now, there it is. I know it seems small, but I don't think that it is. I understand she says a lot of good stuff, but let's be real. If I took purified water, okay, and I took a little bit of sewage, and I got a little bidet, and I just put a little bit of that sewage in my purified water, would you still be comfortable drinking it? So, while, yeah, the vast majority of it is certainly good, and I can't disagree with, there's these little tiny bits that kind of sour it. And it's this idea that women are attracted to, like, integrity. Like, they're not. Now, should they be? Yeah, but they're not. And I don't think it's a good idea to try to encourage men to have integrity because women find it attractive. Not only because they don't, but also because, one, integrity, again, is your own personal conviction. It's what you do, as she said, when no one's looking around. It's for you. It's your moral code. It's your strength of conviction and your character. You can't have integrity for other people by definition, right? Women can't even see integrity because, again, it's your mind. It's what you do when you're by yourself. It's your personal code. No one can even see it. Most people can't even see integrity be expressed, right? And that's why it can't functionally attract women, because no one can see it exist unless they see you do something good when you think that no one else is there, right? I think there are some ways you can certainly express integrity. I mean, for example, but it's not something you can really express like to the woman as any form of like attraction, right? Doing the right thing, like say someone kicked a garbage can in the middle of the street, so you walk over there and you pick it up. You just do it, not because you're gonna get any reward, but because it's got to be moved out the way. That can hurt somebody. Just doing stuff like that. Someone dropped their wallet, so you go grab it and you say, "Yo, man, you dropped this." Instead of stealing from them. Those kind of things are good, but they're not points of attraction. No one's gonna see you do that stuff. So you can't set it up as if like women are like, "Oh man, you're just so good." And you just do no. Like they can't see that. No one can really see that. And again, that's not the point. It's supposed to exist for you personally, because you have the conviction and you know that it's the right thing to do, so.
You don't have to question where you stand with a man with integrity, because he makes it clear through not only his words but also his actions. High-value men don't manipulate and play mind games. They make it very clear what their intentions are, what their expectations are, and they aren't willing to accept any less than that.
But I mean, you can still operate with that kind of honesty with girls and honestly tell them how you feel. And due to the way that a lot of people have been trained as if treating relationships like there's some kind of battleground or like Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game, that kind of more freaks women out more than it ever really endears them. Now, to be fair, I mean, if the woman just does like you, usually you can be upfront. There's not much you can do wrong for a woman that's like attracted to you, but the thing is, she's got to be like attracted to you. And integrity is not a point of attraction for women. Not I'm gonna say not. Pretty rarely are girls like really gonna be like impressed because like you just do good things for people. I mean, no one is gonna be like, ew, that's bad. No one's gonna be rejected or repulsed by it usually. But like women, their juices won't flow because you just do the right thing. That's not, they don't work like that, unfortunately. They should, but they don't.
You don't have to question where you stand with a man with integrity, because he makes it clear through not only his words but also his actions. High-value men don't manipulate and play mind games. They make it very clear what their intentions are, what their expectations are, and they aren't willing to accept any less than that.
Get clear that your intentions are that you're trying to find a wife and see how many women are turned on by it. It's just, they're not. Which, I mean, they're just not. And sorry to say, I mean, I wish the world worked that way, where just being upfront and being honest and, and just telling women the truth makes them like you. But sometimes, vast majority of the time, it doesn't, It doesn't. Because they probably just aren't attracted to you from the get-go. So what difference does it make? Like, this only supplements, and that's kind of the problem. Like, one of the biggest problems with like trying to date is like these traits only supplement just the original initial attraction that the woman would have for you, rather than your character is what brings her forward. Now, of course, again, no one can like really see your character when they first see you on the street. It's not a bad thing to want someone that's physically attractive, but it's also not a good thing to try to tell people that this is going to attract people to you. It's not. And it doesn't exist to attract people to you. Your moral compunction and character exists for yourself. That's why it's integrity. That's what the word means.
And I think that's the big distinction here, is the respect that a man with integrity demands is attractive. A man with integrity knows exactly what he wants, and if someone's not on the same page with you with that, you can walk away and be totally fine.
Yeah, I know exactly what I want. I want a woman that's going to love me for who I am, that will treat me well and will raise my children and try to help them, give them a better life than the two of us had, you know. But you think a woman's gonna hear me say that and like, wow, let me go ahead and DM him right now, I heard you wanted a wife? Like, no, like they won't. That doesn't mean anything to them if they don't like you. It's not a point of attraction unto itself. And again, you can't, again, that exists for you, not for the woman. You, as the male, you have integrity, again, for yourself. Like, you don't do this in service of the woman to make her like you better. Like, no, that's stupid. Like, you can't even express it until the event occurs. You can't even choose to express that you have integrity until the, rubber meets the road. So
a man with integrity has self-respect. He doesn't care what people think. This one also goes along with authenticity. A man with integrity is so attractive, you guys. This makes a man so high value.
Not caring what people think does not make women's pussies wet. Sorry. It doesn't. In fact, women are highly care about social status and social spheres and living up to the images and trying. American women, I don't really know about anywhere else, but American women are mostly tuned into that kind of stuff. So maybe you might find a plain Jane who's like that. Maybe you might find one, but generally that's not the case. And I don't want to set that up for you're gonna get ladies to like you because you had that. No, you're not. You're not. You're not. It's good. You need to have it for yourself. And if you find a woman that does value that, keep her. Keep her. Like, don't listen. If you meet one that does, I'm not saying keep her, but do not have this expectation. Is also what I'm saying. Value it if you find it. Do not ever expect to find it. Summary.
Always learning. So I think this is one of the most important ones on this list. They're all important, but this one especially, because a man who thinks he knows everything, who isn't willing to grow, isn't willing to evolve or improve, is stunted in every aspect of his life. People like this who think they already know everything and don't have any room to grow are probably the farthest thing from high value that there possibly is. There is always room to learn and grow, and people who have that mindset versus that I know everything mindset are high value because they're constantly doing everything they can to reach their full potential, like I mentioned earlier.
So here's the thing I've been able to kind of pick up from our friend Courtney here. And lucky for Courtney's boyfriend that she exists to so. Courtney seems to be really big fan of humility, which I could just summarize, obviously, just kind of based on what she's said thus far. And I think Courtney, maybe in her own mind or maybe in herself, she may really genuinely find a lot of these different traits attractive. She may really genuinely like all this stuff. I've seen her boyfriend. The guy, he looks like Peter Parker before he got bit by the spider, right? Like I kind of trust it, like she's not, which isn't to say the guy, he's not a bad looking guy, but like he's not, he's not Chad. Let's be real, right? And I know it sounds rough, but I tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. Okay? He's meh. He's a good looking, he's okay guy. And so I can trust that Courtney may really honestly like all these different traits. I can trust that. But the problem is, Courtney is not standard issue. Let's be real. She's not standard issue. Women are not attracted to humility. Women are not attracted to dudes who go watch National Geographic and learn about animals. They're not attracted to dudes who learn woodworking on a whim. They're not they don't care about none of that stuff in general, right? This idea that if we go out and we learn and we constantly improve and try to become better, that's not, women, they're not going to be turned on by that. You do all that stuff, again, for you. And one of the biggest problems I kind of have with Courtney's video is the fact that a lot of these points are constantly tempered by the fact that it's going to be good for a woman. It's going to be attractive to a woman. It's not. These traits don't exist. They don't even exist to as points of attraction anyway, because you can't really even express, you can't really, like, how do you even express that you like to learn and grow and change, without it being prompted in some kind of conversation? You would have to spend time with the person and then see this man sitting there reading a book like self-improvement, or see the man training in martial arts, or see the man learning the skill. And by then you have to already invest in that relationship. Sure, it might make the woman want to stay with you, but the woman, she's not going to be attracted to you because she wouldn't even know you had that skill or that desire to begin with, right? And that's kind of one of the, again, like, you can't use this stuff for attracting women. You can't even express it. So, I have to use this analogy again. It's not a bad thing what Courtney's saying here. Like, she's right. You should always try to learn and challenge yourself and grow and try to strive to be a better person than you were the day before. Certainly, you should always try to improve your skills and maybe learn some new stuff. She's not wrong, but again, that exists for you.
About how much you make that makes you high value. It's how hard you work to get there and how much value you can then create and bring because of that. So you can make a ton of money and not be high value. I don't think that necessarily makes a man high value. I think it's more about your personality, your character, and what you bring to the table. A high value man is desirable because he makes himself that way in some way, shape, or form. And regardless of what kind of high value man you are, I think there are many different kinds of men that are high value in different ways, but a woman is going to be attracted to you because of the value that you bring. The same way that men are attracted to a woman because of the value she can bring to his life.
And so, my friends, there it is. Once again, I ask, if I gave you a glass of water, right, and I then grab a little sprinkle of dirt and just pour a little bit in there, would you drink the glass? Probably not. Say I put some dishwashing detergent in that glass of water, would you drink it, right? Let's say, okay, fine. Let's say I took some coffee and I just poured a little bit and diluted the water with the coffee taste, right? Would you drink it? Some people might drink, a little bit of coffee in their water, but most people, it's gonna taste a little bitter. It's not gonna taste that good. Probably not. And so, again, my analogy basically means, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in here. There's a lot of sugar in here. There's a lot of stuff that sounds great. But the problem is, Courtney tempers and reinforces her point finally with the fact that, you're going to be attractive to women. Women, you're providing value to women. Now, this is actually counter to everything that she said. Because everything that she said, and I encourage, again, you guys watch the video, get the full context here. Everything that she said are all traits and all skills and all abilities, and all of it is self-work to yourself. They're all things that exist here. They're all things that exist here. Everything she said cannot even be expressed outwardly most of the time without someone already knowing you intimately. These aren't all, and it's great that, and here's the thing, and this is what kind of bothers me. Because she's doing this thing that women typically do. Women, they all do it, Feminists have been doing it. Girls on OnlyFans do it a little bit more obviously. But what a lot of them do is they use the promise of being able to have some pussy to get men to comply or act in a good way. And to be fair, sure, Courtney's usage of trying to dangle vagina in men's faces is a lot better than most, all things considered. If the grand idea is, be a good person and be a really good individual, and you too can have a good woman. I mean, considering all the other avenues a lot of women use their vaginas to get male attention or to get male resources, this might be the best one. But even in being the best awful thing is not a good thing. It might be the best of all the ways which we use female, desire to get males to comply, but it's not good. The point is, everything that she's saying, again, is for your own personal character and development. And I don't want anyone to start any journey of trying to obtain this strength of character and conviction with this idea that women are going to value it. A lot of them aren't. And my friends, that's the point. My friends, that's what gives conviction strength. That's what gives conviction meaning. What gives conviction meaning is the fact that in spite of the fact that it's hard, in spite of the challenge, in spite of all the things that will make life harder to go into, you still do it. That's where willpower comes in. That's where mental strength and focus comes in. It doesn't come in because you know you'll get a reward. It comes in because you don't know if you'll get, in fact, you might be punished. It might be hard. I'm going to tell you guys this once again, my friend, my brothers. I used to write poems for girls, fam. Right against the grain. Right against it, dude. I used to not even attempt to have sex with women in an attempt to show them I valued them as people. I loved them for who they were. I didn't even try. They didn't fucking care. I still don't like fellatio. Told people, never a fan. Never a fan. They didn't care. Women didn't give a fuck. But here's the thing. I do good things. I go the distance for the people that I work for all of the time. Not because I think I'll get anything out of it. Not because I think I'm going to get some kind of reward. But because, one, it's just a habit. It's just, I've been doing it for so much. I just love helping people. I just love it. I just love doing it. It's number one. It's just natural to me. But number two, it's because of this really good habit I built up that now when I have a good relationship with a woman, it's easy for me to do what's right. It's easy for me to do the right thing because I've been doing it for so long, which I'll go into detail in another video some other time. Point being, right, you don't do good things to get a reward. You may get one, but the strength of character and conviction comes from in spite of the challenges in life. What gives you the strength to persevere is not knowing you'll get something out of it. And dangling vagina in front of young men saying that this is attractive to women to get them to comply or be better people, sure, might superficially make some good people. But in the end, if they never get what they were promised, it's just going to breed anger. It's going to breed contentment. It's going to make them upset at the fact that they struggled so hard to do good and be good only to find that women aren't attracted to this shit. But you don't do it because you want women to like you. Now, should women like it? Yes. Would the world be a better place if women were attracted to this shit? Yes. But it's not reality. And that's why I had to come, and this is a long-ass video, but someone had to say this because it's like, no, you do the right thing for its own sake. You focus on making yourself stronger so you personally have a better quality of life. If anything, if you're going to do it for someone, then you should do it for your children so you can give them a better quality of life. You don't do it for a woman. A woman is an adult. We have feminism. She can make her own quality of life better. But your children, who are born into this world, not asking to be, whose only source of strength is you as their father, right? You're their model of excellence. You're their father. Yeah, for them, yeah. For the ones you want to have in the future if you don't have any kids. Yeah. For a woman, no. See, most of them aren't going to value it. And second, this is all stuff expressed in your mind and in your personal effort. People can't even see it most of the time. Only you can. So don't do any of this shit because some woman is going to give you some vagina. She probably isn't. You do it for your own sake because you want to be a stronger and better person. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to make this video. I wanted to say that. Someone needed to say that. I don't know if a lot of people watch this video, but I hope you guys do. It's a really important message. And if you guys did like the message, man, please, man, don't heckle that, man. Go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comments below. And as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.